Hi, and welcome to Fuck Around and Get Paid, the podcast that's here to help you love the fuck out of your life and make money doing it. I'm your host, Jennifer Liss, and today we're going to talk about how being fully yourself changes your money, relationships, and life. Let's dive in. How is it that one singular thing, this one very simple thing can impact basically everything in our lives? Your money, your relationship, like all of it, everything is impacted by this one thing. Have you ever seen the movie City Slickers where Curly's like, one thing? Well, the one thing, my friends, is you being fully you, exactly as you are today, not some future version of you, not some pristine, perfect version of you, not who you were yesterday, not who you were as a kid, but you right now in this moment, fully accepting, fully vibrant, fully alive, and all of the imperfections, all of it. If that's activating something in you, if you're like, I don't know, that sounds a little bit scary. That sounds like too much. That sounds like who I don't want to be. I'm trying to be some future version of myself. Then this episode today, my friends, is for you. Because let me just say this plainly. This episode is for you if you want to make money, but something is not clicking. If your relationships feel surface level, no matter how much you show up, I know that one. If you're creating content, but it feels flat, even to you, people are not responding to it. If you know deep down that there is a more expressed, fully alive version of you, but you're just not letting her come out to play, or him, this is for you. And I'm going to tell you a little story. Last year, when in the last episode, I talked about me and Joey's relationship things that have been happening for a while, but really came to a head exactly a year ago, actually. I was planning my European adventures. I decided that I was going to leave. We weren't going to live in this house together anymore. I was going to leave, and I decided to go on a European adventure. I was just going to go travel the world, and I freed myself to go do whatever the heck I wanted to do, which happened to be for me to go travel Europe. I went and I did house sitting all over, and it was honestly fantastic. The most difficult thing about that was how guilty I kind of felt about how much I was enjoying it when I knew that I had just left my husband. And he knows this. It's true. It was a really good time. It was the worst time in our lives and also the best time in both of our lives, because we really, for the very first time in so long, got to know who we were as individuals. I got to know, who am I, a human being operating in this world, who is not Joey's wife, who is not a married woman, who for the first time since I was 17 years old is actually walking around the world and saying, what do I want? What do I want in a partner? What do I want out of life? What do I want my life to look like? Because it just has felt planned for me for so long. Had this huge wake up call about who I am. But previous to this is the wildest experience that was really heartbreaking for me, was that Joey and I were in one of our deep conversations, because even though he was struggling really hard with alcoholism, we were both he was working on it. I say he was working on it, and he was doing the reflective work, and we were talking to each other. But he admitted to me in one of our conversations, he said, I feel like I can't fully be myself with you. And a big part of this is something that we're actually going to talk about. If you're listening to this episode before the 25th of March, we're actually going to talk about this live in our call that we're doing. You can go to jenliss.com/love if you want to join us live for this or get the replay. We're going to talk about this because when he said that, I had a huge flood of emotions. Like, he has always been, up until a few years ago, he's always been my safe space. And my job is holding safe space for people. That's what I do. And I was not his safe space. I was not his safe haven. He didn't feel safe to be who he was with me. That was like a punch in the gut and a stab in the heart at the same time. I was like, what have I done wrong that he doesn't feel like he can be himself? And as we continued to have this conversation, part of what came up is that in my growth process, as I was doing all of this self work, he was feeling not enough because he thought that we had the life, we had the house, we had the 2 cute dogs, we had good jobs, we had everything. And then I all of a sudden felt like it was not enough and was doing all this self work. And so he continued to spiral into not enoughness, completely really unaware of that's what was happening. But we now know that that's what was happening. Again, we're going to dive really deep into our story here. So I'm going to keep this at the point that really matters, is that our relationship was deeply, deeply hurting because half of the relationship didn't feel like they could be fully themselves with the other person because he didn't feel enough, like himself being exactly who he is was enough. And let me tell you, when he started being himself with me, when he came back to himself, when he has started, he's so much sexier. And he's so much sillier. He's so much freer. There's something so energetically magnificent about how we're both operating right now because we are so free. But what I want to say to you in your relationships in your life and your business is that all the world wants you to be is you. That's it. That's all that the world is asking of us. But the very thing that the world is asking of us feels sometimes like the hardest thing to do. And especially like relationships is one big side. And the way that we show up in one thing is the way that we show up in all things. So if we're hiding in our relationships, we're hiding in our business. And if we're hiding in our business, we're hiding in our relationships because there's something we're trying to hide. Life is trying so hard to flow to you. Money is trying so hard to flow to you. Love, connection, peace, prosperity, opportunities, all of it is like knocking at your door. But the only way to receive it, the only way to let it get through is to unblock the flow, which is being blocked by you not being fully expressed. Because you being fully expressed is the doorway. It needs to come through. So you don't need to be more polished or more strategic. You need to be more you. So, of course, this isn't just a romantic relationships thing, but let me tell you, when you are fully you, you will have the best relationships. That doesn't mean that the ones that you have right now are going to last forever, or that they might not change or shift in some way. You've got to free yourself and then allow other people to be freed in the way that they want to be freed. That's some deep stuff. And we're not going to go deeply into that, but we are going to talk about it when it comes to business, because you will remain invisible to your ideal clients. If you're building a business, you will remain completely invisible, hidden. They cannot see you. You could be standing right in front of them. They could go to your Instagram page. They could go see your content. They could be served your ad. And if you are not being the most true, most powerful, most authentic version of you, you will not be a magnet for them. You simply will not. They won't see you. It's not even like the magnetism is one way to explain it, but they just physically, they cannot see you. And why is that? Because you're not allowing yourself to be seen. They can't see you. It's like it's completely clouded. So what does this look like? There are so many people. Let me just tell you, the number one client of mine come to me because there is something in them that they have not said that they need to say. And I have been gifted, I firmly believe, by my aunt who passed from this realm with the ability to shine a big old mirror with a big old dose of liquid courage that I help you to take so that you can go and stand in that and own that part of yourself, because you will get paid as fully as you desire when you show up as your full self. And I don't care if it's messy as hell. Somebody else who I was coaching on this, I've been doing these workshops lately where I'm helping people to position your offers and to really understand the juice, the magic, the little the flavor of you, and how important it is for you to be showing up in that magic. And she's a breath worker. And she said, I really love like the sensual side of things, the touch, the this, the that. And like, are you in any way, shape, or form putting that into your copy? And she's like, no. Are you talking about that? Are you offering that? She's like, no. She's also like, I'm also a little bit snarky. Like there's this snarkiness about me that I feel like is not okay in the breathwork world. Like I can't bring that part of myself. I was like, my God, please be the snarky breathworker. For goodness sakes, do people need somebody to be showing up in that energy? That is when she is going to become magnetic. That's it. That's what's going to draw people in for her. And I hope she takes that and runs with it. But if not, let me tell you why that might not happen. Because energetically, it's really scary. We will lock down those parts of us that it's like, it does not feel safe because at some point somebody told you that you're too something. You're too bitchy, which actually might be your gift. You're a little too salty, or maybe you feel like you have to be sweet, or maybe you feel like you can't be sweet because you've always been the salty one. There's these little things about ourselves that we don't show up. But just like with Joey, I just have to tell you, like him feeling free to be silly around me has been such a breath of fresh air. And I didn't know he was holding it back. And, I don't know that he fully knew he was holding it back. Just like most business owners don't know that you're holding it back. You don't know that your business has become a performance, and performance, as good as it is on stage. And you know what? I actually don't like stage acting because it feels like a performance. I love a good movie. I really love a good limited miniseries. That feels real to me. Stage acting does not feel real. I'm not attracted to that. I'm not attracted to that energy. It does not feel real. It feels like a performance. People do not buy performance energy unless they are the kind of people who love performance. So if you are selling performance, if you were selling how to teach people to act on stage, then perform all day. Please get up there and perform. If that's the kind of thing that you are selling. But if you're not selling performance, if you're selling spiritual work, if you're selling people authenticity, if you're selling something that helps people to be more themselves, you better fucking be yourself. I'm talking to myself just as much as anybody. I'm growing in this every single day. But this is the truth. And I'm just seeing it. And this is exactly the work that we're going to be doing in my upcoming 10-week immersive. So if that sounds interesting to you, go get on the VIP waitlist. A fourth of the spots are already taken by current students. And so I opened up a VIP list it went to those in my community first, and now those podcast listeners. So if you're interested, go into the show notes and go click that link. It's at jenliss.com/VIP. If this sounds like something that you need, I would love to work with you on it. But I do want to leave you with a question. Wherever you are, I want you to really sit with this. Where am I holding myself back? Where does it not feel safe for me to be fully me? So that you're not shifting yourself when you move room to room, place to place, audience to audience. Where do I not feel safe to be exactly myself? What part of you are you filtering, and why? And what would it look like to just let 10% more of that out. Just 10%. So again, I try not to share two things at the same time, but I do happen to have two things happening simultaneously that I want to tell you about. Is that Joey and I have our session. You can go to jenliss.com/love. If that's something that you want, that's kind of separate. We don't normally talk about relationships, but it does impact how you fuck around and get paid 100%. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in this particular offering, go to jenliss.com/VIP. I am so excited wherever you are in your life. If you're listening to this and you're stepping more radically into who you are, you will just love the shit out of life so much more, because life loves to love you back when you are fully yourself. Your relationships work when you show up and really show up as your most radical, authentic self. And the same is true in your business, not the version of you who's been performing and trying to seek approval since God knows when. The full fucking you, the one that people are just waiting to get to see themselves in, because it is so freeing when somebody just shows up exactly as themselves. So I'm looking forward to you owning the shit out of that, my friend. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you gained something beautiful for yourself that you're going to take forward. Do those reflective questions. If you got something out of this episode and you think a friend would as well, please share it with your friend. You can also, would mean the world to me if you'd scroll all the way down on Apple Podcasts, click the number of stars that you think that this podcast deserves, and leave a review. I love reading them. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.